We're all set.
All right. In five, four, three. Hey everyone, and welcome to the newest edition of the Orange and Blue Breakdown, where we bring you all things in the world of the New York Mets. I am Dave, aka Captain Caps.
I am Metzrock, aka Nick.
Jason is not available. Hope to have him again next time. And before we bring you tonight's episode, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Now let's get right to it as we break down this past week plus in Mets baseball with the Brewers, Yankees, and the first game with the Orioles.
Okay, so we're going to start it off a little differently tonight, David. We are going to talk about the injuries first, because we had two big injuries that were announced. Actually, very good for. Unfortunately, Starling Marte, out with the knee bruise, is expected back by the start of the second half against Cincinnati.
All right.
Which is big for us. I'll take that. Jesse Winker activated from his injury. He played last night in the DH spot against the Orioles. But the biggest announcement, I think, which makes me very happy going into not just that series with Kansas City this weekend, but going forward in the second half. Not only do we have Kodai Senga back from the IL from the hamstring strain, but in even bigger news, Sean Manaea, parting setback, will start or relieve Sunday against Kansas City, the last day before the All-Star break.
Awesome.
Those are big two key parts. Blackburn's a little further away. Who cares? Who cares about Blackburn? He had a 7 ERA when he was with us, so he can stay it as long as he wants. Miguel won't be back till August. That's a blow. But now we finally have that three-headed monster that we were supposed to have from the beginning of the season. Another injury news. Actually, Jose Butto, undisclosed illness, will be back when the second half begins. They never said what the illness was.
Yeah, he asked not for it not to be specified, so who knows what's going on there.
All right, let's talk about the Milwaukee Brewers series.
All right, so the opener is the first game of a doubleheader, where the bullpen blows a 2-1 lead in the sixth. Reed Garrett serves up a grand slam to Joey Ortiz. Mets lose 7-2 to the Brewers and suffer their 14th loss in their last 17 games to that point. And then the second...
I want to take it game by game real quick.
Yep.
So that first game, we saw the same old bullpen mistakes. Garrett gives up a grand slam. We lose 14-17. And you know what? Here's what I'm a little shocked about after all that. Is that the Phillies have stunk so badly that we didn't get blown out of first. Blown way back to like third or fourth place.
Thank you, Phillies.
And the Marlins, and you know what? I don't like crediting any teams in the NL East. But the Marlins have been good lately. Like, they're actually ahead of the Braves, and they're closer to us than they are to last place. So good for them trying to make something out of it. But second game of that series. The second game of that doubleheader.
Oh, yes. This is where things start to get a lot better. So, the second game of the doubleheader, Brandon Nimmo hits a second-inning grand slam. Francisco Lindor drives in 3 runs. Edwin Diaz gets a 4-out save, and the Mets split the doubleheader with the Brewers with the 7-3 win.
I mean, you know what? This was great. Our bats came alive. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the game that they decided to do the lineup change round with Nimmo leading off, or was that?
I believe this was where they had Francisco Lindor hitting second.
Leading off. Tell me also at first in that game.
Yep. All right, and then the.
Turn that in 1 second.
All right, I will.
No. Yes, this is the first time.
All right.
Okay, so next up we have Game 3 of that series.
Right. So
With the Blue Crew.
David Peterson goes 6 2/3 innings in a much-needed lengthy start, and the Mets edge the Brewers 3-2 and take 2 out of 3 from the coming into that series red-hot Brewers.
You know, I'll take it because we've dunked the like 5 series. So that was like, hey, you know what? We're going to prove that it's not a fluke. We're going to get the job done. And we're going to win this series. And Peterson, way to go, man. You pitched a great game. Okay, so going up against what has to be one of the struggling teams of all of baseball. Not just us, but there's another team. Which ironically is our crosstown rivals.
Them Bronx.
I think they're called the Yankees? I'm sorry. I don't acknowledge teams that lose 2 out of 3 and then barely skate by because of horrible umpiring Game 3 to not get swept in that series.
That'll be our one rant for today.
We can't rant about anything else. Bullpen blows a 2. Oh, wrong one. Sorry about that. Mets erase a 2-0 deficit via Juan Soto. Actually, no, there are 2 rants for today, and I don't think that Soto bomb still has not landed. And with Beatty solo homer and McNeil go-ahead 2-run homer. Garrett gets a gutsy 2-inning save. Mets beat the Yankees 6-5. Reed Garrett turns it around. Give it up for Reed.
He showed some guts that game, for sure.
July 5th, Mets outlast the Yankees 12-6.
Slugfest. This was like a heavyweight fight.
Nimmo with the grand slam, his second on the homestand. And Alonso with 2 homers.
One a 2-run shot, and then a 3-run shot, I think his second one was.
And then Diaz shuts it down. Nothing really more to say about that. Frankie Montes pitched alright. Okay, let's talk about the game that I can't stand. Mets throw they call it a second bullpen game in the last 3 games because they really threw one on Friday too. Mets throw second bullpen game in 3 days and couldn't get the job done thanks to horrible umpiring behind the plate on a strike 3 that was below the strike zone. Mendoza gets ejected for the second time in a week. Mets lose 6-4, but win series 2 out of 3 and splitting the season series with the Yankees 3 out of 3. No.
Yeah. Home plate umpire John Bacon's performance left a lot to be desired, for sure.
And I have some opinions about this guy named Laz Diaz, who's supposed to be the crew chief of this crew, and how shitty he is of a teacher. I mean, how the hell do you... And then he calls a strike 3 that the guy didn't even swing the bat.
It was at the shins.
At
the shins.
A check swing, strike 3 to end the game. That wasn't even a strike. Nor did he swing. And you know what? When Mendoza got thrown out and he was still yelling at the home plate umpire, and when Les Diaz came over to get into it with them, I was like, you suck even worse, Diaz. You need to go back to single A, and so does your home plate umpire. You know how bad of a level that this home plate umpire was on?
Angel Hernandez could have done better.
He made Angel Hernandez actually look like a competent umpire. That's how bad this guy was. Not just for the Mets, for the Yankees.
Yeah, so Bacon blew 20 calls behind the plate, 9 of which went against the Yankees, and 11 which went against the Mets. So he sucked both sides, but yeah.
Mostly us.
Mostly us. More us, yeah.
But you know what the most important thing about that?
The
Mets won the series.
Yeah.
I can't complain when the Mets win the series.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. Especially considering the skid that the Mets were in.
4 out of 6? You know, okay, let's talk about the really a shitty game last night.
Yeah, bring out the Jack Daniels for this one. So, yeah, the Mets blew a 2-1 lead in the 6th inning, fall behind as far back as 6-2. Then in the 8th, erased that 6-2 deficit on a pair of 2-run homers by Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso. Juan Soto drives in the go-ahead run in extra innings. Huascar Brazoban finished with a scoreless bottom of the 10th for the save, and the Mets win a wild one over the Orioles 7-6. This is what, in wrestling terms, Jim Ross would call bowling shoe ugly.
So, I don't even know how to express myself. I thought that the way that Diaz got through that 9th inning so quickly, I think they should just nothing against Huascar Barraza. But I think they should let Diaz go out there for the time.
Yeah. 10 pitches?
It doesn't matter. We won the game. We won the game. Thank you, Jesus, that we won. Pete Alonso hit a home run. Lindor hit a home run. Biggest comeback of the year so far for the Mets?
Yes. The Mets did not come back from any deficits for at least 4 runs. So this is the
You know what this is starting to remind me of? 2015. The Mets struggled a little bit from April till June. And then, once they got those players back from injury and made those deals like for Cespedes and all that, the Mets started feeling like, hey, you know what? Any lead is in trouble.
Yes. Well, we're a step ahead of the 2015 team in that we don't have some guy like John Mayberry Jr. batting cleanup like a weak hitting.
We got a lot though instead.
Yes, for 162 games. Thank Lord.
And officially, the Mets-Orioles game has been postponed today.
Oh.
We have no baseball tonight.
That's breaking news.
It'll be a doubleheader tomorrow. 12 o'clock first pitch is game 1. And 5 o'clock will be game 2. which actually stinks because I have school at 12 and I have work at 6.
I am
So I will be
commuting
missing,
to work
I
tomorrow,
will be
so
missing both games of the doubleheader.
as will I.
So let's so shall we talk about the upcoming series with Kansas City?
Yes, so we have some
Because
nice
there's nothing
returns.
really to report about Baltimore because we ain't got a game tonight, which
Yeah.
I'm very upset about. I was looking forward to this game.
Yeah, so was I.
And actually, national TV, ESPN will have the game tomorrow night, so we don't have the shitty announcers.
Well, at least we don't have that. They don't have to endure that.
That's
Worse-
one positive.
Worse than
Okay, so
Michael Cole.
starting with Friday night against Kansas City, you got some guy that I've never heard of. To be determined, he has no ERA.
Wouldn't
No
it be a
strikeouts.
ERA?
Against the ghost pitch.
Kodai Senga
And what is back?
returns.
And then on Saturday, we got Frankie Montas going up against to be determined. And then on Sunday, we will either have Clay Holmes or Sean Manaea going for the Mets.
Oh, so that game, it's been
Chelsea,
yeah. One of those two will start the game, and then the other will pitch the second
Lead.
bulk of it. Yeah.
unless we can get 4 innings out of Manaea and 4 innings out of Clay Holmes and then just have Diaz come in for the ninth, I'll take it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I will most definitely take that.
Okay, so why don't we talk about the All-Star game? No, I'm sorry. Let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about the home run derby real quick. The one thing that I looked forward to every year
Which
because Pete Alonso was going to be in it.
and this year he announced he will
Yeah.
not be in it.
Which I'm kind of happy about. Because now he won't screw up his swing and have problems hitting home runs come the second half. But let's talk about the All-Star game. And I looked it up today. Technically, the last starter for the New York Mets elected to be an All-Star as a starter before Lindor was Cespedes, but he was hurt. So the last Met to actually be elected as a starter and start the All-Star game, and I was actually wrong about this, there were 2 Mets that year. Harvey and David Wright.
Wow, that was
The 2013 All-Star game.
which was in Citi Field.
Exactly.
Wow.
That was the last time a Met started the All-Star game.
12
Which from 2001 to like 2011 was the common thing. A Met would be the starter in the All-Star game. Piazza started from 01 to 05. David Wright was the starter in 06 and 07, along with Beltran and Reyes. Oh, they were backups. 09, 10, 11, Wright was the starter.
Yeah.
It was the common thing. The Mets would have a starter starting the All-Star game.
Now we're finally got one after 2.
Lindo! But I want to talk about the BS.
Juan Soto not getting in.
Juan Soto not getting in the All-Star game? Really? Half these guys don't deserve it. James Wood doesn't deserve it. 2 Diamondbacks outfielders is going to be in the All-Star game?
Corbin Carroll and who's the other one?
Forgot. That's how not important this guy is. I don't even know who he is. But over Juan Soto, this guy should be starting the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Along with Pete Alon.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, and look at this. Cleveland, Jose Ramirez is opting out of the All-Star game.
Wow.
And he had been in the National League, maybe we would have gotten Soto in the All-Star game.
Well, let's hope that someone in the National League does opt out, and that'll be the opening for Juan Soto to get in.
But everybody hates us.
Yeah, that's not news.
So,
Well, it's like Nick's frozen. Nick, you there? Alright, while he is... Yep.
I'm right here.
Alright, you froze for about 10-20 seconds.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at my phone to see who is going to the All-Star game with the Diamondbacks. Okay, my phone is not working, right? Hang on, All-Star game rosters. Here we go.
Eugenio Suarez, I think, was the other one.
We got National League starters, reserves. It was Corbin Carroll. Oh, Eugenio Suarez, but he's an outfielder.
And then Ketel Marte at second base, I believe.
Ketel Marte's not on here.
He's not?
Nope, he did not make the All-Star team.
Oh.
Unless maybe he's a starter? Is he starting the game?
He might be a starter, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that's an entirely different story.
Ketel Marte.
Like Kyle Schwarber's going to the All-Star game? Don't the Phillies have enough representatives?
Everyone seems to love the Phillies.
I'm sorry, don't the Braves have enough representatives? They got a guy that shouldn't be even playing in the All-Star game.
Yeah, they're
Freaking a month into his season and he's freaking in the All-Star game?
the MLB high.
And you know who I'm talking about? Ronald Acuna Jr. should not be in the All-Star game. You need to have a minimal amount of games played to be active in the All-Star game.
I won't disagree with that.
You know what? I'll give you Ellie De La Cruz. Great player. A lot of speed. Well respected.
Yep.
And if we didn't have Francisco Lindor on our team, I'd say let's trade for him at the deadline. Brendan Donovan, alright, he's pretty good. Matt Olson, going to the All-Star game. just because it's in Atlanta.
That explains a lot. I'd like to see what kind of reaction Freddie Freeman gets.
The only reason why Kyle Stowers is going to the All-Star game is because the Marlins aren't good enough to get anybody else in.
Yeah, and all teams have to be represented.
Which is bullshit. That's why Hunter Green is on the All-Star team. Okay, let's talk about the Mets that did make it as preserved.
Pete Alonso.
Seems to be the greatest home run hitting Met of all time.
5 away from passing number 18.
Pete Alonso. I think there were Braves fans that were voting for Freddie Freeman. And then, really, the greatest closer, probably in Mets history, Edwin Diaz, is an all-star. I mean, 3 guys representing us. I love it. I think Soto might force MLB to say, you know what? Fuck the rules. Pardon my language. Put him in the game. Put him in the game. You can't have an all-star game without Juan Soto.
Yeah.
That's this year.
Himself was
the National League... I'm going to make a prediction right now. The National League doesn't win if Juan Soto's not on the team.
He wants his all-star bonus rather than sitting at home during the all-star break.
I think he wants another shot at winning a World Series. Because of how bad the Yankees screwed up last year.
Oh.
I think if the Mets proved anything the past weekend against the Yankees, is that A, we're going to see them down the road. I think this is a World Series preview, Mets-Yankees, this year. Because the Dodgers, not that impressive.
We did pretty
the Cubs? The Cubs? Not that impressive. The Phillies? Please. We have their number.
We just slammed them into elimination last year.
The Padres? I'll give them credit where credit's due. They're a good baseball team.
They are.
Do I think they can beat us in a 5-game, 7-game series? No. I think we can beat the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of this year that the only team that stands in the Mets' way of going to the World Series, Dodgers.
Oh, after yesterday's game, did you hear about Steve Cohen making that Fab Four line? Little, you might be a little young for this, but it was a Beatles reference, referencing Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso, and Soto as our Fab Four.
But yeah, that's our power.
Yeah.
Nimmo's having a good year. If Nimmo didn't start getting hot, right, like the last few weeks, if he was like that all year, we could have been talking All-Star game for him.
Yeah. He just needs to be a little more consistent with those hot streaks.
I mean, really, this is probably our best. And you know what? Rain out, who cares? We'll just beat the Orioles twice tomorrow. And let me give you guys a quick update on the Phillies game that's being played in San Francisco.
Last I heard, it was 7-0 in the 8th.
$11-0. The Phillies put up a 7 spot in the 8th inning.
Filthy.
So we'll be a half game out at the end of this
We'll make up ground tomorrow.
by sweeping. And we're actually facing some guy named Sugano, and we're facing Charlie Morton.
What? Charlie Morton. What about Charlie Morton?
We're facing him tomorrow. He's the starter in Game 1.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a little scary of thought.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll do a show next week with it being the All-Star break. Won't be much to actually cover.
Yeah, I think it's just 5 games that we would cover.
That's not really much to talk about.
Yeah. Unless something big happens.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So, we will be back, I guess, 2 weeks
In 2
from
weeks.
tonight.
Most likely, yes.
Unless we do, like, a preview stream Friday afternoon.
Alright. And before we wrap up, got some historical events that we gotta cover.
Oh, yes, we do. Let's see. On July 3rd, 96, Alex Ochoa hits for the cycle as Mets beat Phillies 10-6. You can really tell how young I am. I don't know who that guy is.
I remember he was a prospect back in the early 90s. I knew his name from reading Complete Handbook of Baseball. That's before your time.
So this time, July 3rd, 2016, Wilmer Flores goes 6 for 6 to tie Edgardo Alfonso for a club record for hits in a game. Mets beat the Cubs 14-3. On July the 4th, 1985, Mets and Braves play a 19-inning game that goes over 6 hours, started in a rain delay as well, and ends at 3:55 a.m. on July 5th as Mets win 16-13. Keith Hernandez hits for the cycle, and Braves reliever Rick Camp hits a home run in the 18th inning to retie the game.
Everyone must have hated Rick Camp for
home run. What were half the guys dead by then?
Yeah, for real.
They didn't have a day game the next day.
Hope not.
As the Mets win 6. Oh no, I got that. On July 6th, 1962, Rod Cannell hits first Grand Slam in franchise history as the Mets beat the Cardinals 10-3 in a rare win that year.
1 out of 40.
Oh, that's why. On July 7th, 1964, Shea Stadium hosts the All-Star Game for the first and only time. Oh.
And then we were
Wait.
talking Home Run Derby. We got a little piece of history there.
Pete Alonso wins his first home run derby on July the 8th, 2019. And then on July 9th, 1969, really just the bad luck begins for Tom Seaver. Coming so close, so many times. Comes within 2 outs of a perfect game and settles for a one-hitter as the Mets win 4-0 over their arch rivals, the Chicago Cubs. Because back then they had to share a division with the Cubs.
Yes, both East teams. And that was the first year in which divisional play started. Before that, there was a whole bunch of teams in
You were the top of the National League, you're going to the World Series. Which, if I recall correctly, the Mets beat the Braves to go to the World Series that year.
They did. The Braves were in the West.
Which is a little weird.
Yeah. You don't say.
So let's, I'm going to check the comments section. And I checked before, there is a comment section.
Oh, yes.
There are no comments.
Alright. In that case, we'll wrap this up. And that would be it for this edition of the Orange and Blue Breakdown. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Again, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. For
Nick, a.k.a. Mets Rock.
I am Dave, aka Captain Caps. We will talk to you again, likely in 2 weeks, and until then, let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!